Hello guys, welcome to the new video of this particular Linux session. In this video, we're gonna discuss the command called more. So if you remember in the last video, we discussed the command called less. Now, why we are discussing more command? So let me give you the first why we need to learn this more command. So first you need to understand the difference between more and the less command. Then why we are learning the more command even though it's not efficient as less command, but there are few reasons that we are learning the more command. So let me give you the difference first. So the first similarity, not the difference, the first similarity between the less and the more command are both used to read the files. As you know, less are also used to read the files, and the same more is used to read the files. Now there are many commands and many ways to read the files. Like we discussed, the ways are like cat. We can use vim also. But why we are using less? I told you in the last video also. So the file size is big. Then we are using less command because less command will provide us the ways so we can read the file and work with the files efficiently. Like we can scroll the file or read the file page by page. If we want to read it by line, then there is another way in less to read the file line by line. And yeah, from the starting, if you want to read like the file that is too big, so it's not possible in cat. I already showed you in the last video as a demo. So yeah, that is the main reason to use less to read big files. Now the motto of the less and more command is same. So the motto is same to read a file, that is same. And there is one more command apart from less and more, that is the most. So most is also one command that is again used to read the files. Which files? The files those are like big in size. Now to read the files that are big in size, why we have the three commands? So there is a one doubt I also have when I am reading about those commands and checking their documentations. So what I figured out, I will give you a summary of the 100 pages of documentation that I read. So the summary is, let's start in this way. So less command is faster than more command. Second difference is you can assume is more is the older command, or I can say more is the older utility from less. Like less is the less is newer command, I can say, and the most is the latest one. So the thing is most is the latest one, then we have less, then we have more, and you can say oldest. So most is the latest one, and the more we are discussing is the oldest one, and the less is in between. So most have all the features of less and more. You can use most also. Less is having more features than more. More is the oldest one. Now, what is the difference? Let me give you one by one. The first difference is the more is the oldest command than less, and less, as I already told you, less is faster than more. Now, how faster and why we are using less, and why we are learning more, even though the less is faster. So first, let me give you the reason of this why we are learning the more command even though less is faster, and we have one more command available that is a faster than less also, that is the most. So even though we have two commands to read a big files, those are faster and efficient than more, then why we are learning more in this particular video. So the reason being is if you are working on some server or working on some particular Linux OS, like anywhere in your company or in your projects anywhere. So let's say if less is not available, and more is the oldest command. That's why it will come almost with every what I say almost every version of Reddit. Now, what mean by version is not exactly the version. So the current training we are doing is on RHEL, 7. So this is 7. So slowly the company that is Red Hat is keep on enhancing their OS, that is RHEL. So RHEL is the name of the OS by Red Hat. So slowly the things are getting enhanced by the company Red Hat, and they are launching their new products. So in the market, RHEL 8 also is there. So just for the knowledge, like we are doing this training that will also cover the topics or the solutions or the practice questions that will related to the REL 8, the EX200 exam on the version REL 8. So if you are going through these videos and you are going through this course, you can easily pass the exam called EX200, and I cleared this exam in the 2018 on the version RHEL 8. So yeah, we are covering the topics, all the topics that are the part of EX200 also, and extra topics that are not also the part of EX200. So yeah, even though you are going all the videos, you can easily pass EX200. One of the things is this. But what I'm saying is, slowly, companies keep on enhancing their OS and their products. So RHEL 7 is there, RHEL 8 is there, before RHEL 7, RHEL 6 is there. So the more command is the oldest command. That means it will also available in RHEL 6. It is also there in RHEL 7. We're gonna see in the next few minutes. And in the RHEL 8, you can also see the more command. Now, the motto of learning the more command, even though we have less and more, is, let's say if you are working on some older version of Linux, let's say on RHEL 6 in your company or in your projects in your college somewhere, and there less command is not there because less is the newer command. Maybe less will not be there in that particular OS. Let's say in RHEL 6 the less command is not there because it's a newer one, but for sure more will be there because it's an older command. Yeah, so you can utilize more command there to work with files that are big in size. Even though you can install less also, but if you are aware of the things on the architectures or the things that are working on the cloud. So in cloud we have some instances. Those instances are like booted up with those like these images only, maybe RHEL 6 or RHEL 7 or RHEL 8. But sometimes what company says is, if you want to work on the instances on the servers, you don't have a internet connectivity. So it's like a phone of yours without internet. Now, even though, like I said here, you can install less command. Even it's not there in the older version. But say, let's say the instance is booted up with RHEL 6 and your company said you don't have any connection to internet. It's like phone without internet. So without internet, like you can't install the games and applications on your mobile phones. In the same way, if you don't have an internet to the instance or the operating system, you can't install the new command. Similar, like we can't install the less command. But as I told you, more is the older command, so it will be for sure available in the older versions of the Linux also. So you there you can utilize the more command to read the files and to work with the files in Linux. There is a one use of learning the more command. Now the second topic we want to discuss is the difference between the less and more. It's good always have a good to learn the differences. So why less command come up in market even though we have more commands? So you can think of like you have car, that XYZ car that you bought around on your first job. Let's say you are in IT from last 15 years and you bought your car in your first year of your job. Slowly the car is getting degraded. So it's been a 15 years now. So you are planning to buy a new car. So all know we can buy the new things or the new cars, new bikes, and remove the old things from our inventory. Why? Only the reason is those are not efficient. It's those are not good now according to the current situation. Let's say they are not giving you good average. Those are like maintenance cost is too high, multiple things. In the same way, we have more command already. You can think of like your first car that you bought in your first year, and the less command is like the new car after some years. So why less come up? I hope you got the answer from this scenario of this car scenario. So more command is not efficient for the current situations or with the current operating systems. or with the current technical requirement. So that's why less come up. Now, what is that particular technical bug? Not the bug, I can say, but what is that the thing that is not in more that will in less? Or why less come up in market even though we have more? What is that particular reason? So the reason is the less is faster than more. But how it's faster than more, the reason, technical reason behind it is, so less will not, so keep focusing on my word, less will not load the file completely on RAM. Now, why file is getting on RAM, as I told you in second or the third video. So to store a file permanently, we need some device or some hard disk. Because to store the things permanently we need hard disk, so the file is stored in the hard disk. But as I told you, CPU can't interact with the hard disk because the speed of hard disk is very slow, so there is a RAM. CPU will read from RAM because the RAM speed is much faster than the speed of the hard disk. So as I told you, this file is kind of a program, and if you want to read this file, the file first go to the RAM, and then CPU will do some operation on that file, and then it will show to us. But the main thing is here is file is getting moved to the RAM. If you want to read a file, the file first will go to the RAM, then only we can read. This is first thing. So less is not loading this file completely on RAM, but more command will completely load this file on RAM. So this is the one reason. Now, how this thing increase the performance of less or increase the efficiency? So we, as we all know, RAM is more expensive than the hard disk. So in our laptop we have normally 4 gigs of RAM, 8 gigs of RAM. Now we have 16 and 32 also. But 32 GB of RAM, or let's say 16 GB of RAM, cost equals to the 1 TB of hard disk. Now in 1 TB you can store 100 times more data than 16 gig of RAM, but the price are almost the same. So even though 16 gig is just equal to 1 TB, because the 16 gig of RAM is much faster in terms of speed than the 1 TB of this hard disk. But why we are using hard disk? Because hard disk is cheaper and we need some device to store our data or the things permanently. So more will completely load that file on the RAM. And let's say the file is having a size of 4 gigs and you have a memory of 8 gigs. From these 8 gigs, 2 gigs are using by your system libraries or multiple things to run the operating system. And if you have a file of 4 gig, 2 gig is already in use, then total 6 gig the memory will be consumed. Only 2 gigs of RAM are available then. So it will slow up down your system. And we all know that sometimes our mobile get hang, laptop got hang. Why? Because the memory is keep on getting full, and the thing we done that time is rebooting the system. So rebooting the system will remove the those data, like 4 gig and 2 gig data is removed from the RAM as soon as we reboot the system, because as you all know, RAM is like of temporary. As soon as we reboot the system or the phone, it will empty up again, but the things will be stored in hard disk. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. More will load all the data on RAM. Let's say now 4 gig of file, 2 gig is already used, and so more will 4 gig will more will move this 4 gig of file from hard disk to RAM. But less will not do this thing. So less, what less will do is, like, there are files, and you can think of file is like in pages. So less will first move this page. Let's say 100 pages are there in the file. 4 gig means you can think of like 400 some unit like MB you can think of, and 100 pages. So one page is of around like 40 MB only you can think. So what less will do is, less will first move this first page to the RAM. If we done with this first page, it will automatically remove this first page from the memory and it will load the second one. Again, if we done with the second page, how the system will come to know that we are done with the second page? In the last video I told, if we press the space key, it will move to the next page in less. So once we're done with the space key, it will remove the current page and it will load the new next page. So that's why less is the faster than more. But even though we are learning more, because as I told you as a reason that if in some system, in some older system, more will be available for sure, but less we are not sure. And what if that system is booted with those old versions of operating systems like RHEL 6 or RHEL 7, and you don't have an internet connectivity, but you want to read the big file, then you will use more instead of less. Now let's quickly see the demo of more command. So almost the options are same. So here I created one file, file.txt. This is a very big file. And if I try, as I read this file with the cat command, and if I try to move from the top, I can move because this is like small file only, not so much of big file. But you can think of it like a big file as we show in the last video. Now, what is the syntax of more command? Let me give you first the syntax of more command. So more command syntax is more options. You can give a number also. What this number means I will tell you. Then the file name. Now let's first read the file directly as we do done with the less command. So more in the file name. See, this is reading the file from the top. Now the shortcuts or the options inside a more terminal is same as less. So if you want to move line by line, then we need to press enter. See, the file is getting moved. I am pressing enter again and again. And if you if you want to move down page by page, then I am pressing space bar. As soon as I press space bar, it will move to the next page, and where you can see in the down it's saying 0%, it will move to the first person. See, 2, 3, it's getting very fastly changed. Why? Because I am moving page by page down. Now if you want to go up again, the moving up again page by page, you can use the option called small b. See, I'm moving up and up again. And if you focus on the percentage, it's also getting 1, 0, and yep, we come up on the top of this file by pressing B again and again. Now, as I told you, we can use hyphen number options also. So what that means is, let's say I want to read that file.txt, not from the starting. I want to read this file from after the 100th line, or let's say 200th line. So then I need to give the plus, then how many lines we want to skip from the start. Like after 100 line I want to read this particular file, so plus 100. See, automatically if we don't specify that 100 line or like plus 100, here in the down if you see it's now 2%, but if we don't specify that option it will be 0%. Let me show again. See, I'm not specifying in options, it's 0%. What if I specify that option plus 100? See, 2%. That means we are skipping 100 lines from the starting of this file. Let's say I want to skip 500 lines. Now you will see some different percentage. See, 8%. So we are skipping the 500 lines. That is the one option. Another option is if you want help while reading the file. So the option is -d. Let me write it here also for the reference only. So more plus 200, that is a number file. This is the first option. This means reading file from 201 line. Skip 200 lines of file. This is the first option. Second is if you want help while reading a file, then option is -d. So this -d will tell you or navigate. It's like a navigation. So while reading file, it will navigate you. Now what is the difference? Let me show you. If you don't do -d and directly run the file, see in the down only the percentage is coming, like how much file you already read, done with the reading, and no option is coming. But if you want option while reading, then The option is -d. Now you will see the change in the last. See, it's saying press space to continue. If you want to do quit of this particular, or you want to come out of this more command terminal, then you need to do Q. So yeah, it's like doing a navigation. Third option is, let me write third option. So the third option you can use is -s, like more -s, then file name. So it will -s will squeeze blank spaces or the blank lines. What does it means? Let's say it's written line 1, then there are so many blank spaces. Let's say 10 lines are blank. Then it's written line 2. Then again 10 lines are blank. Then line 3. So what -s will do is it will squeeze this 10 blank lines to one blank line. Again this 10 blank line to one blank line. So that's what we can use. Here you can't able to see because we don't have much blank lines, but yeah, this option you can use. The next option you can use if you want to search some keyword or some string from the file, then what you can do is you can do more. You can write pattern here, what pattern you want to search, then the file name, and the syntax of giving pattern is +/ the pattern. Now let's say I want to search something from this file, then more. I am giving +/ user add I am giving, and the file name I am giving. See, it's giving me that user add things. So that's how it will work. And rest all the options are the same as less command only. And let me check we have most or not here. Yeah, we don't have most. So I will cover this most command in some another video if you want. So I will explain the options and the differences between the most versus less. What is the difference between less and most? What is the difference between most and more? Why most is faster than less again? Even though we see that less is faster than more. Why? Because less will not move the complete file to the RAM, or not move the whole file from hard disk to RAM. It will move the files page by page. As soon as the page reading is done, it will remove the page from RAM and it will move the next page to the RAM. But what more is doing is it's moving the complete file from hard disk to RAM. So that's the difference we already checked. But if you want difference, why most is again faster than less, so please ping me, or like please say in the comment that we want the lecture on the most. Also I will prepare one new video on the most and will tell you the references and the internal technical things that why most is again